Kida was just updating us about the latest developments there in Sterkspruit, confirming that the Minister of Defence, Umamunosviwe Mapisa Ngakula, is going to be visiting Sterkspruit just to make sure that everything goes according to plan. You'd remember that there's been quite a lot of security personnel that has been deployed there, and to ensure that people do exercise their right to vote. Also in Sterkspruit, you'd remember that we had an incident earlier on where EFF actually objected to what it saw ballot boxes that came into a voting station already filled with ballot papers, and then it objected to that. The IEC actually handled that issue to explain that those ballot papers were in fact special votes that were cast yesterday. But also a second incident in that area is that of political parties. Apparently they were found to have voters roll, and they were ticking voters as they were coming in, which is completely irregular. That's another issue that the IEC is handling. Now, we're going to cross now to the Karoo, another part of the Eastern Cape, in the inland town of Cookhouse in the Blue Crane municipality, just to get a sense of how voters are actually doing this morning in terms of voting. And our reporter there, Lerato Tipa, compiled us this insight.
As day breaks in the small community of Cookhouse, people are patiently waiting at voting stations. The situation in the town was calm when polling stations opened. Those that came early were excited to make their mark in the democratic process. Nicole Goncalves is a so-called born-free, taking part in the elections for the first time.
I am a born-free. I'm excited to vote for the first time. I always wanted to vote. I looked forward to it. I would like to change quite a few things in Cookhouse South due to the fact that we had lots of striking and our municipality was destroyed. I would like to see more jobs in Cookhouse for younger people like myself.
But many people of Cookhouse still remember the first time they were allowed to vote in 1994 and why it is important to continue taking part in the elections.
Apha eKookhouse ndaqalisa uvota ngo-1994. Kula minyaka sukela ku-1994.
Since 1994, I have seen a lot of changes. The government has provided us with housing, electricity and water.
So
the only thing that I want the government to do for us, we want government to deploy many teachers in the schools because our children are lost outside.
Cookhouse has a population of nearly 8,000 people. Despite the many challenges facing the people in the area of Cookhouse, such as poor infrastructure, inadequate housing and unemployment, they have come out in numbers to cast their vote in this year's elections. People are optimistic that the government will eradicate the bucket system, improve healthcare facilities and provide more jobs for young people. Lerato Tipa, SABC News, Cookhouse.
Thank you very much, our reporter there, Lerato Tipa, helping us to understand really how things are shaping up in the Karoo, particularly in the inland town of Cookhouse, in that municipality of Blue Crane. This is what we'll be doing throughout the day, reflecting on the various parts of our province to ensure that we get a sense of how people are feeling about this vote. Now, we're back here on set, and we're going to discuss some of the developments that have taken place today with our analyst, Precious Lugayeni, who now joins me here on the set from the Mangosuthu University of Technology. Precious, thank you very much for joining us. What's your take on how voting has actually taken place today, seeing that there hasn't been much incidences that have taken place?
No, I think the voting on the whole is taking place well, given the fact that there was an expectation of some disruptions here and there. But on the whole, the voting is taking place well. However, we don't know what went behind closed doors because there were people who were not going to vote. There were people who were going to spoil their ballot papers. However, I think people will go and vote properly because going to stand in the queue and spoil the ballot paper doesn't help.
Right.
But on the whole, I think the voting is going quite well.
Taking into account the province of the Eastern Cape, 18 political parties, as you can see here at the IC Center. We see party agents already arriving. There's 18 political parties that are contesting the power in the Eastern Cape. What does this mean about, is the ANC vulnerable perhaps here as a ruling party?
I think the ANC is not vulnerable at all. The number may decrease, but the ANC is not vulnerable. If you look at all the political parties that are here in the Eastern Cape, including the ANC, they are really smaller parties. The only party that will be interesting to see how it does in the Eastern Cape will be the EFF.
Right.
That will be interesting. But the ANC doesn't seem to be worried about the EFF like it was with COPE.
I see.
But there isn't a serious contest for the African National Congress. I think they will still get their number. How much they get, that remains to be seen.
Where are the workers? We've had, coming up to this election day, there's been a lot of debate about the vote of the workers, whether they would support the ANC or not. Where are they today?
Well, the workers are maybe they are amongst the people, okay. But what NUMSA said in particular is that they will not support the ANC in the campaign this year. Right. But they did not prevent individuals from exercising their individual choices, and that how they choose then that remains to be seen. Whether the effect or the impact of the group has an impact on the individual, that remains to be seen. However, NUMSA did come out and say they will not be supporting the ANC in the campaign for this year. If that then translates into individual choices, if the workers do not vote for the ANC, then we can see a big problem for the ANC.
All right. That's why we'll have to leave it. Precious Lugaeni, our analyst here, who's going to help us to understand these issues as we continue with voting here at the IEC. Thank you very much. Now, we're going to cross now to the Nelson Mandela Bay, where our reporter Janine Lee is standing by to give us an update. Good afternoon, Janine. Earlier on, when we spoke to you, you were at the township of KwaZakele. I understand now that you flew over to another side of Port Elizabeth. Tell us more.
Yeah, we're on the move, Tommy, I must say. We're now on the other side of town. We're in the Warmer Township. It's the oldest township in South Africa. It's got a population of between 65,000 and 70,000 people. So a lot of people. And as you can see, this is just one of 4 voting stations. They tell me it's been extremely busy since early this morning with people queuing outside the gates. Now I'm going to have a chat in just a moment to a lady who's been here since early this morning. I'm going to ask Willie on camera if he can just move down here. This is Dina Fortuin. She came out early this morning. She cast her vote and she thought she would do a little business at the same time. Dina, morning. What was it like here early this morning?
It is good luck today. I was here 7 o'clock. It's too much people here. Now, I'm staying here.
Now, Dina, I see you've got your mark on your finger. You voted. What's the most important thing you voted for today?
Sorry?
What's the most important thing that you voted? What do you want from these elections?
I want more. They're going to more versus old ages. So, granny. No, this granny is also 83.
So, Dina, you want the government to look after the elderly?
Yes.
Yeah. There's Dina Fortuin. She's an elderly lady here. She wants from the government more care for the elderly. And I'm just going to have a quick chat to this gentleman here. So you cast your vote. You've already done your duty. How are you going to spend the rest of your day?
I'm going to sit with the family. Later on, we're having a fish fry. That is all.
Good, excellent. Well, I hope you enjoy that bra. I wish I was so lucky. From us here in Nelson Mandela Bay, Tommy.
Thank you very much, Janine. Sounds like you guys are having fun over there. You're enjoying these elections, which is quite nice. Well, that's all we have time for here at this point. We'll continue updating you as the day progresses. It's now back to Pretoria.